Hello everyone, my name is Priyanshi Mathur and I am pursuing B.Ed from the Bhopal School of Social Sciences. So today I am here to discuss a very interesting topic, that is globe, latitudes and longitudes. In this we are going to discuss about what is a globe, latitudes, lines of latitudes, longitude, heat zones and the international date line. So the topic which we are going to discuss first is a globe. As we know that it is impossible for a person to study Earth manually, so we use a gadget that is known a globe. A globe, the Earth is spherical in shape and the globe is slightly flattened at both the poles and bulges at the equator. The equator, as you can see, the equator divides the Earth into two equal parts, that is the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. The upper part is known as the northern hemisphere and the lower part is known as the southern hemisphere. We can say that seeing a globe is seeing like the Earth in a short form. The globe is also called as a terrestrial globe. Now we will study about the Earth's axis. The Earth's axis, which is an imaginary line through the center of the Earth, which divides the Earth into a degree or into a part of 23.5 degrees. The angle which is made between the Earth's axis and the line drawn through the Earth's axis enter through a perpendicular to its orbit. The angle which is formed is 90 degrees. And this is the line which is the equator, this is the perpendicular axis and the angle which is formed, that is 23.4 degrees. Now we will study about latitudes. What are basically latitudes? Latitudes are the lines, imaginary lines which are drawn on the Earth's axis to make it possible for the people to locate places in the map and also on the globe. The equator or the great circle divides the Earth into two equal parts, that is the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Latitude is the angular distance of the place north or south of the equator as we measure from the Earth. Latitudes are the imaginary lines which run from the west to the east, ranging from 0 to 90 degrees. As you can see, the latitude lines are running from this way to this way. These lines are known as the latitudes and they form an angle of 90 degrees and 0 to 90 degrees. Now we will study about the major lines that include in the latitude. So the latitude includes the Arctic Circle, Tropic of Cancer, Equator, Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle. The equator is the center line which divides the Earth into two equal parts, that is the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. The northern hemisphere has the Arctic Circle and the Tropic of Cancer and the southern hemisphere has Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle. So we will discuss about longitudes. So longitudes are also like the lines, imaginary lines in the latitude, but these longitudes run from the North Pole to the South Pole. They have a center line which is known as the prime meridian. The prime meridian passes through the Greenwich in England at 0 degree line. Now what are longitudes? Longitudes is the angular distance of a place on the surface of the Earth measured in degrees east or west of the prime meridian. There are 360 meridians, all in the 180 to the east and 180 to the west of the 0 degree line. Longitudinal lines are drawn around the Earth from the North Pole to the South Pole. These longitudinal lines go from the North Pole, that is from the upper part, to the lower part, that is the South Pole. Now as you can see the image, that is we are making a comparison between the latitude and the longitude. As you can see in the lines of the latitude, we have the lines running from the east to the west and the pink line that is indicated as the equator. So the lines of the longitude run from the North Pole to the South Pole, and they have a common line which is known as the prime meridian. Now we will discuss a main topic, that is the heat zones. What is basically a heat zone? On the basis of the distance from the equator, the earth is divided into three broad climatic zones that are known as the heat zone. The first zone is the polar zone, the second zone is the temperature zone, and the third zone is the tropical zone. This holds for the North Pole, and same is given for the South Pole. The South Pole has the tropical zone, the temperature zone, and the polar zone. Now, the equator, that is the center line which divides the earth into two equal parts. The North Pole has the polar zone which comprises of Arctic Circle, temperature zone, and the tropical zone comprises of the Tropic of Cancer. And as we move forward to the South Pole, we have Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle. So now we will see how are we able to locate places on the earth. Now, if a person has to move from one place to the other and has to see that place into a map or a globe, how will that person be able to see that place? So the point of the interaction of the latitudes with the longitudes at a right angle help us to locate the places, and the lines which intersect each other and the network which forms between the latitude and the longitude is known as the grid. And these latitude lines and the longitude lines meet at a point, that is the Tropic of Cancer. Now we will talk about the international date line. This line helps us to locate or see the time in other countries or where we live. So this, as you can see this image, the international date line is made between the center in the map. So if we move from the right to the left, that is from the west to the east, we get ahead by a day. And if we move from the left to the right, that is east to the west, we go by a day. We go back by a day. So this helps us to see the time where the other person is living. So this was all about my topic. Thank you.